Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most insightful books about wealth I've ever read, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This isn't your typical finance book with complex formulas and investment strategies. Instead, it explores how our behaviors, biases, and emotions shape our financial decisions, often in ways we don't even realize. By the end of this video, you'll understand why being rational with money is so difficult, how your personal history shapes your financial decisions, and the simple habits that can transform your financial future. Let's get started. Before we dive in, who is Morgan Housel and why should we listen to him? Housel is a partner at the Collaborative Fund and a former columnist at both The Motley Fool and The Wall Street Journal. His financial writing has won numerous awards, including the Society of American Business Editors and Writers Best in Business Award. What makes Housel particularly worth listening to is his unique perspective. Rather than focusing purely on numbers and formulas, he blends psychology, history, and personal experience to explain why people behave the way they do with money. His approach is refreshingly accessible using storytelling rather than complex jargon. The first major insight from the book is that our financial decisions aren't based on spreadsheets. They're shaped by our personal experiences, especially those from our formative years. Housel explains this through the concept of financial impressionable years. People who grew up during the Great Depression often remained extremely frugal and risk-averse throughout their lives. Meanwhile, those who came of age during the booming 1980s and 1990s tend to be more comfortable with stock market investments. Real-world example, consider how differently baby boomers and millennials approach home ownership. Boomers who saw consistent home value appreciation view real estate as a guaranteed investment. Many millennials whose financial impressionable years included the 2008 housing crash are more skeptical about the always buy mentality. What shaped your financial worldview? Was it parents who struggled with debt? A recession during your early career? Understanding these influences can help you recognize when your financial decisions are being driven by your past rather than your present circumstances. One of Housel's most powerful insights is that wealth is what you don't see. True wealth isn't about displaying expensive cars, luxury vacations, or designer clothes. Those are actually the opposite of wealth. They represent money that was spent, not saved or invested. Real wealth is invisible. It's the investments not made, the temptations resisted, and the purchases delayed. It's financial independence and freedom that grows quietly in investment accounts. Real-world example, Housel tells the story of Ronald Redd, a janitor who lived frugally his entire life. When he died at age 92, people were shocked to discover he had accumulated an $8 million fortune through consistent saving and investing. Meanwhile, many outwardly rich celebrities and athletes end up bankrupt despite earning millions. This insight challenges us to reconsider what wealth looks like. The people with the newest cars, biggest houses, and most lavish lifestyles may actually have less financial security than those living modestly while building investment portfolios. The third key insight is that being reasonable with your money is more important than being mathematically rational. Financial experts often present the rational approach to money: maximize returns, minimize taxes, optimize everything. But Housel argues that this ignores human psychology. A financial strategy you can stick with is better than an optimal one you'll abandon during tough times. Real-world example, consider two investment approaches. A perfectly optimized portfolio that promises maximum returns, but causes you so much stress that you panic sell during market downturns. A good enough portfolio that helps you sleep at night and stay invested through market cycles. The second approach will almost always win in the long run, even if it's not mathematically optimal. This is why understanding your own psychology is crucial. Your financial plan needs to work not just on paper, but also in practice, accounting for your unique emotional responses to money. While investment returns get all the attention, Housel makes a compelling case that your savings rate is actually far more important, especially early in your financial journey. When you're starting out, the ability to save 20% of your income will have a much bigger impact than earning an extra 2% on your investments. No investment strategy can overcome poor saving habits. Real world example. Consider two people. Sam invests $5,000 annually and earns average 8% returns. Alex invests $15,000 annually but earns only 6% returns. After 30 years, Alex will have significantly more money despite the lower returns, because the power of additional contributions overwhelms the difference in investment performance. This insight is liberating because saving is something we can control, unlike market returns. Focus first on building strong saving habits before obsessing over finding the perfect investments. Another profound insight from Housel is that both success and failure are heavily influenced by luck and risk, factors we often ignore when evaluating financial outcomes. We tend to attribute financial success entirely to skill and hard work, while explaining away failures as bad luck. The reality is that both outcomes involve a mix of factors, many outside our control. Real-world example, Bill Gates is undoubtedly brilliant and hardworking, but he also attended one of the few high schools in America with a computer in the 1970s. Being born at the right time, in the right place, to parents who could send him to that school, played a crucial role in his success. Recognizing the role of luck and risk helps us be both more humble about our successes and more compassionate about others' struggles. It also helps us build financial plans that account for unpredictable events rather than assuming we can control everything. Perhaps my favorite insight from the book is that the highest form of wealth is not a specific dollar amount, but the freedom to control your time. Money's greatest value isn't in what it can buy, but in the options it provides. The ability to make choices based on what brings you joy and fulfillment rather than financial necessity. Real-world example. Housel shares his personal decision to maintain a relatively modest lifestyle despite his financial success. This gives him the freedom to work on projects he finds meaningful rather than those that maximize income. For him, this control over his time is worth more than the additional consumption a higher-paying job might provide. This reframes the purpose of building wealth. The goal isn't to accumulate the largest possible net worth, but to create enough financial security to live life on your own terms. The final key insight is that financial planning must account for a changing world and our changing selves. Many financial decisions assume our goals, values, and circumstances will remain static. But as Housel points out, the world changes, and so do we. The career, lifestyle, and priorities that matter to you today may be completely different in 20 years. Real-world example. Someone who built their entire financial plan around retiring to travel might discover, decades later, that what they actually value most is living near family. If their financial strategy locked them into the original plan with no flexibility, their wealth won't serve their evolved priorities. This is why Housel emphasizes adaptability over optimization. The best financial plans leave room for changing circumstances and values rather than optimizing for a single fixed future. After spending time with these ideas, I believe the most valuable concepts from The Psychology of Money are: first, the idea that reasonable is better than rational. This single shift in thinking has transformed my approach to financial planning. Instead of chasing the mathematically perfect strategy, I now prioritize approaches I can actually stick with through market cycles and life changes. Second, understanding that wealth is what you don't see has been incredibly freeing. It's allowed me to stop comparing my financial journey to the curated lifestyles I see on social media, recognizing that true wealth builds quietly over time. Finally, reframing wealth as freedom rather than a dollar amount has given me clearer criteria for financial decisions. I now evaluate choices not by whether they maximize returns, but by whether they increase or decrease my control over my own time. These three insights have made my financial life not just more successful, but also more peaceful and aligned with what truly matters to me. The Psychology of Money offers a refreshing perspective in a financial world often obsessed with complexity and optimization. Its core message is that successful money management isn't about what you know, but how you behave. The most important takeaways are your personal history shapes your financial decisions more than you realize. Building wealth is primarily about behavior, patience, and humility. The purpose of money is to give you freedom and options, not just possessions. Reasonable strategies you can stick with beat theoretically optimal ones you'll abandon. I hope this summary has given you valuable insights and practical steps to improve your relationship with money. Remember, financial success isn't about following a perfect formula. It's about understanding yourself and creating systems that work with your psychology, not against it. If you found this helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe for more book breakdowns like this one. Let me know in the comments which concept resonated with you most. See you in the next video.